Hi everyone, in the first episode of HTML course. In this video I will talk about basics of HTML. What do we need to start write our HTML code? Of course we need a text editor. I will recommend you Visual Studio Code, Notepad++ or Sublime. For this course I will be using Notepad++ because this simple editor will allow me to focus on writing raw HTML code. And what do we need to run our HTML code? We don't need any hosting server, only thing is required is browser. The one I won't recommend you is Internet Explorer. The browser you will choose, it depends on your preferences. What is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. This is not a programming language, but it allows us to set and display different things on our website. Every website is wrote in HTML. This is the skeleton of the website. Now, let's create new HTML file. I've created a folder and named it HTML. You can name yours whatever you like. And I prepared an image. It will be helpful in this video. Create new file and name it index.html. Why naming this file index is so important? Because by naming this file index, we're letting our hosting server know that this is our home page and we want to display this page as first to the user. And let's talk about extensions. As you can see, the extensions are visible on my Linux OS. But if you are using Windows, the extensions can be hidden in your Windows system. So now you see the video how to turn on the visibility of extensions on your Windows OS. Fine, let's create another one empty document right here. Let's name it about.html. Open this file inside our Notepad++ and write here a line of text. For example, this one. Save this file, we can close it, and we will back to this file later. Now, open our index.html inside our browser and inside our Notepad++. If you don't know how to install Notepad++ on your Linux OS, you can check my previous video. Now I will show you how to set the dark mode to your Notepad++. Go to the settings, style configurator, and you can select theme right here. I'm using Obsidian because it's my favorite. Now, let's talk about structure of HTML file. We need to define this file as a HTML5 file. So, what's the definition of HTML5 inside our file? We need to use angle bracket, exclamation mark, and type. Doc type HTML and close the angle bracket. I will zoom a little bit. Okay, and that's all. This is the definition of HTML5 inside our file. We can save our file. Okay, now let's talk about other basics and required tags of HTML. We have opening tag called HTML and closing tag of HTML. Basically, this is the root element of HTML page. And now I can talk about nesting other tags inside the tags. Because we can do this by simply putting our tags. The next tag is head. So by putting one tag inside of other tag, we can call it nesting. Okay, the second inside is body. Oh, sorry. Angle brackets and the closing body. Now let me explain all these tags. As I said, HTML is a root element, and only thing you need to know is you need to put this opening tag below this doctype element, and closing tag of HTML need to be always at the end of your HTML file. So head tag can contain things like the tags like title text, the meta text, style text, link text, and script text. I will talk about all these tags a little bit later, but now let me explain the body tag. Body tag will contain tags that will be displayed. The content of these tags will be displayed on our browser, inside our browser. So simply, the body tag contains visible page content. Now I will talk about content of head tag. Before I start to write anything, I need to hit tab to make an indent inside my head tag, because it's really important, and keep it in mind, to keep your code clean and readable for other people, especially for web developers that you will be working with in your first job or any other job you will get in the future. So keep it in mind, keep your code clean and readable. Now I will use a title tag. Of course, opening and closing one. And now I will explain you what we can write right here inside the title tag. Of course, we can write the title of our site, of our website. I will call mine sharpcode. And if I save the file and refresh my browser, you can see right here in the browser tab, the website now is displayed as a sharpcode. Of course, this is not the only one thing that this tag is doing. This tag defines a title of our browser tab, inside our browser tab, and in search engine. This title will be displayed as our search engine result. So this is a very important tag inside our head tag, and this is required tag to write a website in HTML5. Okay, now I will write a few meta tags and will explain all of them separate, because it's a bit of content inside them. So here I have my meta tags, and the first difference we can see between the title tag or head and body tag and HTML tag and meta tag is that we have opening tag right here and closing tag, but here we have self-closing tag. This is the name of this type of tags. And in HTML5, we don't need to use this / at the end of tag. But I'm used to it, and I will be using the / in my code. But keep in mind, it's not required in HTML5, and it depends only on your preferences. So, what's the meaning of charset is equal to UTF-8? Charset is meaning the character set of our website. If you don't know what are character sets, you can Google it. There are a lot more of character sets, but the UTF-8 is commonly used, and I think this is a standard of character sets. Let's call it like this. The next one is description. Description, the attribute we need to use is name and call this a description, and the content, the attribute content, will hold our description of this site. So the description of this site will be displayed below the title of our website inside the search engine result. So keep it in mind, this is a very important tag, also like this title tag right here. So what we can write about our website. Let's say we have programming website, so we want to use we want to use something like, delete something. We want to use something like, I don't know, maybe this site is, I misspelled, site is about programming. And we want to write more about programming and the languages we are using and we are teaching and all that stuff. I think something around 160 words will be enough and SEO acceptable. Let's say it. If you don't know what is SEO, SEO is search engine optimization, and basically it's about placing your website higher in search results. Don't worry if you still don't get it, I will explain it later on in other videos. Now, next meta tag with also attribute name is called author, and content of this tag will be, of course, the author of this site. So if we are the only one author of this site, we can simply write, I will write sharp code. Now this is not required tag, but if you want, you can use it. Like I said, this will be the commonly used meta tags in our head tag. Our next meta tag is keywords. So of course, attribute, keyword name, attribute name, and keywords inside, and what we can put inside the content of this keywords meta tag. Of course, the keywords about our website. So if we have this programming website, we can type right here, let's say C#, C++, and let's say web dev, and that's it. We can add few more or few less, it's all depend on you. I think it's not have a big impact on SEO because in the past people are overused this keyword meta tag, and I don't know if this is working in these days, but if you want, you can add it. It depends on you. Next meta tag is called Viewport, and it's really important to have this meta tag inside our head, because what does it mean? What mean the content of this meta tag? The width is equal to device width. And what is a responsive web design? So simply, if I put my website on my whole screen, this page will still look good as we design it to look good. And if I put my website inside of small screen like our mobile device screen, this page needs to also look good and to set and display the content of this website as we design it to look on mobile device. So we don't need to write any other website or any other file specifically for mobile devices. We need to write everything in one, let's say one file. It can be of course more files, but in one file. But we need to design our layout and our website to display on different screens the same. So basically this is it. I will talk about responsive web design in other videos in the future. So don't be worried if you don't understand what is responsive web design. Now it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is to remember that this meta tag is very important, and if you want to start responsive web designing, this needs to be in your head tag. Now let's talk about script tag. So what we need to know about script tag, that is, it can contain inside of this, between these two tags, JavaScript, and we can add and path to external JavaScript file. So if we put right here an attribute source is equal to, and now we can type inside the path of our JavaScript file, or if we put the JavaScript file inside the same folder we hold the index.html file, we can simply write a name of this JavaScript file and of course extension. But I think in future, if you will write some bigger websites, bigger projects than only one website, one site projects, you will have an external folder with external JavaScript files to contain files right there, and you will need to enter the whole path of your JavaScript files. And I think that's all about JavaScript tag, the script tag. Now I will talk about link and style tags inside our head tag. So let's get started with link tag. We can write link, and now row is equal to style sheet. Now the next attribute will be ref, and if I remember, it stands for hypertext reference. And now we can put a name of our CSS file. And the next one, we can add it, but it's not required. And close our tag. It's self-closing tag, so remember, you can add or you don't need to this / at the end. So simply, what the link tag is doing inside our head tag. Link tag, as you can see, is linking the external CSS file to our HTML5. So like with the script tag right here, we were adding source of our JavaScript external file right here, and also we can put the type attribute right here with JS at the end, but also it's not required. So as you can see, we can add external files of our JavaScript and our CSS to our index.html, to our .html files. And why this is so important and why this is a recommendation for big projects and etc. Because if we have a lot of codes, a lot of functions inside our JavaScript, and we will write our JavaScript inside our head, our .html file will lose on its readability. I can call it like this. And it will take a lot of space inside one file. Instead of this, we can keep our JavaScript and CSS separately and our .html files separately. So it will be cleaner code, and also we don't mixing all the CSS and JavaScript and HTML in one file. Now let's talk about style inside our HTML file. As you can see, we have link to external CSS file. As I said, we can add CSS inside our style tags, and there is one more. We can set an attribute called style is equal quotation marks, and we can set a color of the content inside the p tag, and let's say red, semicolon. And remember to use the one more important thing: use quotation marks in your attributes when you set your attributes in all the time, because this is in the standard. It add the readability to your code. Your code is cleaner because of this, and I think that's it. And as you can see, as I said, use indents inside your code. Okay, for now we set a color to the content of our p tag, and if I save and refresh, you can see the text become red. But this is not a commonly used way to set style. As I said, the preferred way, the recommended way, is to use external link to the CSS file. But as a beginner, you can add this, and especially if you have only one element that you want change and you don't want to, I don't know, play with the CSS if you don't know how as much, so you can simply put an style attribute. Next, let's talk about two attributes called ID and class. They are very, very important, especially if we are talking about CSS. I will talk about them more and explain them in next episode, especially in CSS episodes and courses, so don't be worried if you don't get it right now. But ID stands for identification, and we can put the name of this, let's say ASD, and how to call this tag named ASD by its ID. We need to put the sharp character and the name, and then curly brackets, and as I said earlier, color, and maybe now green. Okay, what's now? Oh, and semicolon. Save. And now calling the tag by its ID means this specific element with this ID. We want to set this specific element with this specific ID to green. So, like I said earlier, in CSS we want to use external things, external files, and if you want to change only one thing on your website, you will use ID. Commonly, it's used for this type of operations. So save, refresh. As you can see, it's turned to green. Okay, what about class? Let's leave this. And the representation of class as a character is a dot. So, and maybe turn it gray. Okay, I won't add more classes. And we want, of course, we can add as much IDs and classes to our tags as we want. So don't only use one classes and for your websites to build your website. Of course, it's only for example purposes. So if I copy this tag right here and paste it, let's say 4 times, save it and refresh the page, as you can see, 4 text turned gray. Okay, but if I add another class and one more, and let's ASC, ASB, ASC, ASB, and I want this one red, this one yellow, save, reload. As you can see, it's work for all of them. So if we want to put a repetitive elements on your website, and we want to set the look of them the same way, so we can use classes. So if you have, let's say, blog and you want to set your every post to look the same, let's say image on left, text on right, and some buttons below the text and the image, you can use class to all of your posts on your blog. Simple, I think, simple. Now let's talk about one more thing. As you can see, if I right here put a new p tag without any class or any ID and write a text, save it and reload, this is normal black text without any color. But what if let's delete this, we don't need this anymore. What if I put let's do this. What if I put only a P right here and want to be gray? Let's reload, and as you can see, every one tag that is P tag become gray. And if I write a new one, and put some text inside, save and reload, as you can see, it's also gray because I set the style to every P tag that will be wrote on this website. Now let's talk about comments inside our HTML. So how we can make a comment, and we can write right here some text and close this comment. So we can use comments for making marks to ourselves that we want to, I don't know, we don't want to lose in our own code. So we want to say delete this p tags after finish. So if we want to remind ourselves something or whatever, we can put this text right here. If we save this file and refresh the browser, as you can see, it's not displayed in our browser. It's only visible for us inside our code. But remember that someone can see this by clicking right mouse button and inspect the element. The whole code of your website is visible to everyone. HTML is visible to everyone except the head tags, the style, the links, the scripts. everything is visible, but not the content of external files, as we can see right here. So everything you put inside the HTML file is visible for everyone with 2 clicks on their mouse. So remember to don't put some goofy things inside these comments. It can be dangerous to your reputation. So what we can use these comments for is to to comment some piece of code. If I save this and reload, as you can see, this 3 piece disappeared and only these 3 stayed on our website. If we want to test the layout of our website, we want to see how this website will look, how this website will behave without some piece of code, we can use the comments this way. So I think that's all about the comments inside the HTML. Let's talk about headings inside HTML. As you can see, there are 6 headings. The size of the text are decreasing with each number. But here's the very, very important thing. As I said earlier, there is SEO, search engine optimization, placing your website higher in search results. Don't use headings to make your text bolder. The headings are used for headings. The headings are headings, so we want to put let's say the title of our article or something important for this website. So if I want to teach about web designing, let's say I want to type inside my headings something like let's say web dev, the best practice to 2020, and in search results this will have an impact for SEO. So remember, don't use headings to bolding your text. Okay, now I will show you few tags to format your text, and I don't want to talk much about them separately, so I will put them and go fast for this part of video. Okay, here are the tags that will format our text. So let's talk about first. As you can see, this is B tag, and with this tag we can make our text bolder. So remember to use this or I to make your text border, or use the CSS to make your text formatted. So it will be recommended that if I know this and this tag are not recommended in 2020, but I think I should talk about them if you don't know how to use CSS or how to format your text. So you can use one of these 2 tags. And what is this BR tag? If I put a simple text right here and save this and reload, as you can see, without BR, and if I even hit the enter and write another one, the text will be set in one line. That's because your, I don't know, browser probably don't read some kind of interpreter don't read the white characters inside your code. What does it mean? White characters are spacebar, tabs, and enters. There does not exist for your browser. Now BR, as you can see with / and without it, it doesn't matter with in HTML5. With BR, which stands for break line, we can go to our next line. So as you can see, we can put more than one, more than two, even we can four, and simply that's what we can use in our HTML5 to format and to make some spaces, some breaks inside our text. Next one, as you can see, is HR, which I call the horizontal line. As you can see, we can simply separate the content on our website. This is cool to separate content on our website if we don't want to mix all things together. The next one, the next two tags are AM tags and strong tag. As you can see, these are not an italic text and this is not an bold text, because your website will display it exactly the same that it's display the bold and italic text. But the AM and strong tags are for important thing to your website. So as I find the information about these two tags, they can also have some impact on SEO, so remember to use them wisely if you want to use these two tags inside your HTML5. So as you can see, also HR without and with the /. Now, mark text, as you can see, the text is marked. I don't know if we can change the color, probably yes, but I only put this mark like this. Next is small tag, that we can get to set our text a bit smaller. Of course, if they're small, there is also bigger text. This deal tag, we can strike through our text. Ins stands to underscore, let's say, our text, making this underline under our text. Now here are three cool tags that we can use inside our HTML5. As you can see, the P tag can also separate the content on our website and is pre-formatted and is really cool to use to put text inside of it. But remember, if you put this P tag and you want to make a break inside, say something and something, save, and as you can see, this is in one line. If you want to make a break, you can nest the BR tag inside your P tag, and this nested tag will break the lines inside your P tag. So next are sub and sub tags. As you can see, if you are chemist or you have math website or you need to explain something on your website that's required this type of notation, let's say, on your website, you can use these two. As you can see, you have the water and the math right here. Really cool, really useful for some types of website. I think really enjoyable for people who don't want to spend a lot of time configuring or getting to how to do this otherwise than using a tag. So now here I put a pre-tag. Let's talk about pre-tag. If we want to write some text, something, and give few tabs and something, if I save and reload the website, you can see the text is set pre-formatted, because pre stands for pre-formatted text, and we can put some text inside of it and display it in the way we want without any play with P's or I don't know, BRs and this kind of stuff. So simply all in one. We can of course nest some big the big tag if we want to make this bigger, or we can set it inside our CSS. So that's all for this tags. Now let's talk about a tag, the very important tag in HTML. We will be using this tag very often when we will writing our website. So we need to be focused right now. And let's talk about A. A stands for anchor, and the basic attribute in A is hyperreference. This href right here is equal, and remember quotation marks right here, like in link up here. So what we can write inside our hyperreferences? Of course, we can put name and extension of our file. So I've made this about.html file right here. So let's type it inside our hyperreferences. Okay, and let's put a text that we will click on inside our browser. Maybe something like this. Save and reload your page. Now, as you can see, we have text that we write right here. And if we click in this text, we have moved to our about this site HTML file, about.html. If you remember, we have wrote this line inside our file. So we know that this hyperreference is working. But what if I cut this piece of text and put it outside of a tag? If I reload this page, this text is outside of our hyperreference, and we can only click to the go to, and it also will work. But about is out of our range of this a tag. Okay, but what if we want to open this website in our new tab inside our browser? We can use something called the attribute called target. And we need to underscore and blank. So target equal to quotation marks underscore blank. If we save this and put about back inside our a tag, refresh our page and click, as you can see, we've opened a about site inside new browser tab. So why it's important sometimes to put this target blank inside our hyperreference? Because if we are in range of our site, we are writing right now, we put few more HTML files, and let's say we will create a logo that we will click on it and we will be back inside our index.html file. So that's okay, but what if I want to put here, let's say https google.com. If I want to put a reference to external website. So in this case, if I will delete this blank attribute for a moment. Okay, save and reload our page. If we are doing something on our website, we are clicking through about, through information about projects, about page about workers inside our company. It's fine, we can always back to our index.html file to our home page. But what if I want to, let's say we are collaborating with some other company and want to put the link to their website. If I click to this link, this page will be displayed instead of my website. So maybe it's not a disaster. We can click the arrow, but if you want to compare to, if the user want to compare or choose the website or switch between the website, it's good to put this target blank. Sorry, if we save and reload, click, and we can use two websites at the same time without clicking back arrow on our website. So it's maybe not that important for you as a beginner, but trust me, for user of the website, it will be very helpful. If you are using some websites daily, maybe you don't put as much attention to this function on the websites you are searching daily, but you are appreciate this function too. So the next one is an image tag. Okay, and the basic attribute of image tag is source, as we know this also. Inside the source we can put the path to our image. So I prepared earlier the logo, so I need to right here put a logo that PNG. Now this is a self-closing tag. Save and reload the page. As you can see, this picture is a little too big. Now what can I do with this? I can put another attributes, of course. The width. This 100 means 100 pixels, so keep it in mind. Now height, and is equal to also 100. You can right here put some other values, but I want to set this 100 by 100. As you can see, we change our width and height in our picture, in our image. So, and remember to save your file if you can't see the difference, and reload your page. Okay, next attribute is very important in case you misspelled something inside your path, inside your name of your file right here, or extension. So alt is an alternative text for our image. If I put right here, this is my logo, and save this and reload this, nothing happened. But if I misspelled something, like add another O and save and reload, you can see the alt we have wrote right here. So this is my logo, is instead of my image. If I write the correct name, it's back to the image. So it's very, very helpful. It's very useful on our web designing, in our web designing. So Next one is maybe not that important, but maybe you will add it in your website. It's title, but this is an attribute title. So I can write over here sharp code logo. If I save this, reload my page, if I hover this image, you can see right here I have a little box with the title I've set to this image. So simply that's all of this. But why I leave this a tag right here? Let's leave it as it is. And now I will cut this image and I will put this, let's make some space. I will put this image inside my a tag. Oh, sorry for this. Oh, let's make some indent. As I said, keep your code clean. As you can see right now, if I click the reload, our image is now clickable. I can click on my image and now my image will send us to the page we are referencing inside our a tag. So it will be very helpful maybe when you are designing your website, you can use it. So let's say we have now clickable logo, as I said previously, and I was talking about the management of our a tags inside our website. So simply you can put an image or other type of tag, let's say, inside of it. It's simply nesting the thing inside our tags. So let's back to this type of things. So next thing, of course, we can put this let's add the p tag, title, and something. If we put a title to our p tag, of course it also will show us the box with the text, but I think this is too much for this little piece of text. I will rather use it inside our image. Okay, next one is a list. Our lists, two types of list. Now let's talk about OL and UL. What's the difference between OL and UL, and what is OL stands for? OL stands for ordered list, UL stands for unordered list, LI stands for list item. As you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, and this is the order of our list. The difference is that we have numbers right here. If I add a few more, you can see the numbers are increasing. But in unordered list, we have only some shapes. We can change them in CSS, but we don't want to do this right now. We can put in list item images and a tags. We can put their really big amount of things. And as you can see, I keep my code indented. Depends on what kind of tags and nesting I'm using. So keep in mind and remember, keep your code clean. Okay, and I think I talked about all in this list. Yes, the last thing, and can be a bit difficult. Of course, we can also styling our list. The ordered list and unordered list can be styled inside the CSS, and unordered lists are often set as a navigation bar. If you see a navigation bar on some website, it in 99% styled unordered list. I will show you how to do this inside my next CSS video, so don't be worried, this kind of things will be also in my videos. Now let's talk about last thing that is a table. Now I will delete this, and we need to create table. We need of course table tag to define the, let's say, space for some table. Now here are the tricky part, and as you can see, keep your code indent and closing tag tr. Okay, tr stands for table row. If you were using Excel, you will know the rows and columns, or the rows and headers. You need to focus on this type of names and compare it to the Excel. I will say it will be the best way to understand the tables inside the HTML. So inside my row, this is my first row in my table. So I want to set the names of my columns inside the first row. This will be the most common way the tables are made. So th stands for table header, table heading, and I want to put a name right here. Okay, the next table header, table heading, next column inside my first row will be surname. So if I have two headers, two headings, two columns, call it like you want. You need to only understand it, and no matter how you will name these tags. So if I created a row with my columns, with the names of my columns, I want to create a row for some data inside my table. So I need to create another one row. So use the tr tag again. And now, as I said, here's the tricky part that we are using for data, td tag. That stands for table data. So keep it in mind that here's the difference. And now, as a first cell, I want to put a name. So let's type John. And the second one will be surname. Let's call it Doe. And maybe let's copy this and put one more data. John, Jane, I don't know if I type it right, but okay, it's only an example. Now let's reload, and as you can see, we have table with name and surname, our th in the first tr row, and here's the second tr and third tr, our rows, and the names with the data we've put inside. And as you can see, headers are in bolder style, the data are in normal style. If you still don't know how the tables works, you can simply inspect this element, and you can click right here, and here you will see the tr elements inside your table are this one, and this one. So you have you can light them a little bit. Here are the th tags. Here are the td tags for data, and also right here. So that's all I think for tables. You can, inside the tables, you can put a tags and images and every other type of tags. You can also put some style to the tables, but I will talk about it in CSS video to not mix all things in one video. And I think that's all for today's beginners video, and here are some tags that you need to know to get started with HTML. One more thing I can tell you about is here in the HTML root element we can put an attribute called language. Lang stands for language, and right here we can write let's say US stands for English United States, and that's all. This line will define the language of our website and will be helpful when, let's say, Google wants to translate to someone this site and will display this message: this site is in English United States language. Do you want to translate this website to your language, or something like this? So I think these are the basics of the HTML. I hope you will comment down below and tell me what can I improve in my videos, and if this form is good for you, it's enjoyable to watch, and you can get as much knowledge as I can tell you inside this video. So thank you for watching, and see you in another episode.